And what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Playbook Sports Podcast. You know who you got with you. You got Nate. You got Cephs. You got Caleb. Willie is my new bae.
My new bae.
Speaking of that new bae, coming at you guys today, we've got another iteration of the 2024 NFL mock draft. However, this time, all three of us are going to be taking picks, alternating. Every third pick, it's going to go Addison, Cephs, Nate, Addison, Cephs, Nate, just like that. We're making picks. Now, this is what we should decide real quickly before we get into this. Should we make picks based on what we think they will take or what we would take? What do you guys think? Because that's different. You know what I mean?
I was looking at them like what I would do if I was in that spot.
Okay.
Just because it's like some of them, if they don't do what we think, I mean, obviously just what we think, but they might be morons because it's glaring problems, you know what I mean? Just for certain teams. But right. So I like to maybe do it with what we think is what it goes.
Perfect. So we will do it based on what we would do if we were the GM of all of these teams. So we're going to jump right into this. No point in holding off. I am starting draft on here, and Addison is on the clock with the Chicago Bears. Addison, who are you taking and why? Before we get into today's video, guys, I just want to give a special shout out to today's sponsors, starting with Gold Fine and Bowles, lawyers for the injured. Personal injury, workers' compensation, those are their two things, but any sort of legal advice, they're the people to call. Give them a phone call, 309-673-5144. Tell them we sent you, okay? And I'd also like to shout out SeatGeek for sponsoring today's video as well. Use promo code PlaybookSports on their website to get $20 off your first purchase of $30 or more. Let's get back to the video.
Well, obviously, big decision here. Basically, the future for the GM for the Chicago Bears. This pick just controls the future of his career there. And with the possibility of having an elite quarterback on a rookie deal versus having to pay somebody you believe in at next year minimum, I think the answer is clear. Caleb Williams from USC will be the first player selected in the draft. Quarterback, it's been an issue for the Bears. Never had a 4,000-yard passer in history. Looking for things to change. Hopefully, Caleb Williams can come in, do something close to that his rookie year. Justin Fields, I love the guy, but just didn't get enough done. And now we have an opportunity to better the team when at your position and for the future with the contract situation. It's just a tough look, and I think it makes it a nice, easy pick. Caleb Williams, he's Patrick Mahomes Jr., right? Can't go wrong with that.
I hope so. I agree with that pick entirely. I think that's what you have to do at this point. If for no other reason than to just reset the quarterback, like the scale, the pay scale.
Yeah.
You're going to have to pay Fields after this upcoming season. If you take his fifth-year option, that's a shit ton of money too. Or we get Caleb Williams on a rookie contract.
So obviously both are great. That's a great scenario. But so say Fields is good, and then you do have to pay him in 1 year. That obviously changes Super Bowl window, contending window. Teams that can do it normally get the quarterbacks on those cheaper deals, and then obviously when you have to pay, you just don't have as much talent, around the quarterback. So it's just like you have an opportunity to reset and go all in at the same time. You got it.
It's just the way to do it. That's kind of the formula right now, unless you have Patrick Mahomes at quarterback.
Yep.
Unless you have him, that's the formula. So Caleb Williams goes number 1 overall. Talon, number 2, who you got and why?
Number 2, Washington Commanders. So new head coach, new offensive coordinator, new everything for the most part. So I believe they will be addressing the quarterback situation as well. Sam Howell, sorry, you're the old regime. New regime's here. You got to go. This pick might surprise you guys. Normally there's the top 2 quarterbacks that we know all year long, and then there's a surprising third guy that swoops in and steals a spot from one of the top 2 guys. And I'm doing that right here. I think they go Jayden Daniels, number 2. Not only, the story of, transferring from Arizona State, teammates trashing the locker. I'm going to go to LSU, a better conference, a better defensive conference, better competition all around. And guess what? I'm going to go win the Heisman Trophy. And I believe with Cliff Kingsbury being the offensive coordinator there, he's going to want a quarterback that has just a touch more mobility than like a Drake May would. And if you're Washington, do you want to go from one North Carolina quarterback to the next North Carolina quarterback? Or do you want to go get a playmaker? I think Jayden Daniels only has, unlimited potential going forwards. I think he's going to have a great pro day as well, which will skyrocket him into this number 2 pick. So I'm going Jayden Daniels, quarterback out of LSU.
Yeah, I don't hate that pick. I know a ton of people around the NFL really like Jayden Daniels as a prospect. I'm real excited to watch him if he goes to the combine and or his pro day. Like, he's going to be able to do everything. And I think this makes the pick for the Patriots super easy at 3, but we'll get into them. But I don't like Washington needs a mobile quarterback because their offensive line play is bottom of the barrel. Worst offensive line in football. If you have a good pocket passer, like say you put Peyton Manning behind Washington, guess what? He's going to probably suck because he has no time to throw the ball. You need somebody who can make the off-script plays. That's Jaden Daniels for sure, in my opinion. I completely agree with
agreed.
that.
I completely agreed. And it's funny, I was sort of down on Jaden Daniels, but it's just the more you watch on the tape and see what he did last year, he really stepped up.
Yeah.
And it just felt like he was more comfortable, just another year at LSU. And, you know, at the end of the day, I wouldn't be shocked if he goes 2. I mean, there's talk that he could go 1, pray and not, but
No
I
way.
mean, yeah, I hope not. But the fact that he's even in the conversation, jumping Drake May, it just shows what he did this year. And I would love that pick for the Commanders.
Yeah. Although I'll be honest, I obviously at 3, I'm taking Drake May, quarterback out of North Carolina, and I hate it. I hate it because I don't want him for New England. I like him as a prospect, 6'4". Like watching him throw the ball at North Carolina reminds me a ton of Justin Herbert. Similar size, similar mobility, surprising mobility for a guy of his size. Wasn't very great for North Carolina this year, but his team around him was pretty bad last year when he had some decent weapons. And he only had Devontae Walker for a little while this season. He missed the first 4 or 5 games before he was ruled eligible. Drake May as a prospect is very good. I will say this, Colin, if you had taken Drake May at 2 for Washington, I was probably going Marvin Harrison Jr. for the Patriots. I don't think Jaden Daniels would fit with their scheme as well. I think Drake May fits the best for them. I feel like Drake May is a Patriots quarterback. And they don't have any weapons. Like it doesn't matter how good your quarterback is if you don't have anybody to throw the damn ball to. So, but with Drake May falling to 3, I think that's a perfect spot for him to go to New England. And you go quarterback, just 1, 2, and 3, which brings up pick number 4, Addison, Arizona Cardinals. I bet their pick's real easy.
I was gonna say this is just a slam dunk, about as easy as it can get. You got Kyler Murray coming back, maybe questions about if they were going to keep him, all answered. Just he looks like he did prior to the injury, you know, maybe a step, but nothing to the point it's noticeable. He's back. Let's go get this guy, premier talent, the best receiver in the class, Marvin Harrison Jr., cut and dry, going to be the quickest pick of the day, quicker than Williams at 1, I guarantee it, just because that's how damn good Marvin Harrison Jr. is, and that's how good the connection will be between Kyler and him. It just adds a weapon, especially because Marquise Brown's a free agent. So obviously, if they bring him back, that's one thing. But if not, that was a pick they traded for a guy that, you know, he's had the connection with Kyler, but it didn't really work out in Arizona. But it won't matter who's quarterback. Marvin Harrison will make a connection regardless. And the fact that it's Kyler, this is just an easy slam dunk. Marvin Harrison Jr. from Ohio State, the Ohio State.
Yep, book it. I think that's you said everything I would say. He's an unbelievable prospect, and he'll do just fine out there, filling that DeAndre Hopkins role.
Yeah. Neighbors and O'Dunes are both good. And Marvin Harrison's a step above both of them.
Yeah.
And at least in my mind. And that just shows
Absolutely.
like those guys are elite talents. And this kid's that much more special. Watch out with a good quarterback too.
I genuinely think if you put like Harrison Jr. in a class coming out of college, you put him in a draft class with Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson, I still think you take Marvin Harrison Jr. before him.
Right there. I mean, he'd be right up there. The debate would be going wild. And I think all 3 of them, regardless, because I think that's who he is. He will be Chase and he will be Jefferson. He'll have 1,300, 1,500 yards his rookie year, you know, double-digit touchdowns, and it's just going to explode on the more he goes.
Yep, agreed.
Yeah, slam dunk pick. I think we all agree he's the first non-quarterback off the board.
Absolutely has to be. If it isn't 3, it's 4.
Right.
Yep. Colin, Chargers. I think the draft kind of starts here because I do think the first 3 picks are QBs, and I do think Harrison's the best non-quarterback in the class. What do the Chargers do here? What do you got doing? What would you do?
So if I'm so what I think the Chargers would do is go offensive line. I think they just mirror a different tackle on the opposite side of Slater. Jim Harbaugh comes in. We want to, we're gonna be physical. That's big Jim. That's a big Harbaugh mantra, both John and Jim, and probably their dad as well. We're gonna play tough physical football. But this is what I would do if I was the Chargers, and I'm taking Rome Odunze. I believe is how you pronounce his name. I'm going to be awful with pronunciations through this entire draft, so bear with me. Him and Neighbors are right there for me, neck and neck. I just have the recency bias of what I saw this year, along with looking at what he's done over his college career. Everything's just gotten better every single year. That's the progression you want to see. Receptions going up, yards going up, touchdowns going up. And the LA Chargers, guess what? We're taking another receiver from a team that made a Cinderella run to the championship and lost in the championship. And we're taking our first round pick, the wide receiver from that team. And hopefully this one is a little more of a home run versus maybe a foul tip on the last one.
Can he catch? Can he at least catch?
I was going to say, he looks pretty damn good. So I'm gonna take him here at 5 if I'm the Chargers.
Okay, I like that pick, especially when you think Mike Williams on his last year of his deal in LA, Keenan Allen on his last year of his deal as LA. So if you're telling me after this upcoming season, while they're already in cap
Yeah,
hell,
exactly.
they're going to go into a year with Joshua Palmer and Quentin Johnson as their two receivers. Good luck, you're screwed. Yeah, you've got three receivers in this class. Obviously, Marvin Harrison's the best, but then Odunze, he's got the size you want. He's 6'3", 215 pounds. Neighbors is more of a smaller slot guy. Get the big boy. Get the guy with the great hands in Rome Odunze. I'm a big fan of him as a pick, and I like that at 5. I've been seeing a lot of smoke about him going above Malik Neighbors. That wouldn't shock me.
Yeah, not only contract stuff, Nate, you talked about with the Chargers receivers currently, but also just overall injury history. I mean, you hate to say it, but it's almost guaranteed at least one of Mike Williams or Keenan Allen or both will go down at some point throughout the season. This gives you a guy you can plug and play and build that rapport with Justin Herbert immediately. I kind of looked at somebody like a Brock Bowers maybe here, but I don't know if he's a top 5 worthy pick right now. So that's why I went with Rome here as wide receiver.
I will say there was a ton of good like stats about a tight end to the Chargers here, because obviously you've got Harbaugh's offense with the tight end. You look at what Vernon Davis did with him, and he was unbelievable. And then you look at Greg Roman running off the offense for them too, because he's coming from Baltimore. Mark Andrews, he's obviously had that stud tight end. So I think that's going to be the big debate for them is, do we go best receiver available when we've got all these studs, or do we go tight end? And I do not have a problem with Rome Odunze at pick 5 at all. I think that's a great pick, which puts me in an interesting spot because I would have taken Malik Neighbors here for the Giants, I think. Or no, not Malik Neighbors, Rome Odunze. I really like Odunze's size, and I think he brings something to the Giants that they don't have. As it stands, though, I'm going with probably a bit of a surprise. I think this is my favorite player in the draft. Talisa Fuaga, offensive lineman out of Oregon State. I'm taking him for the Giants because of a few reasons. First of all, he's not the best tackle in the class, but I'm a believer of there are true bred left tackles and there are true bred right tackles. This guy's a thoroughbred right tackle. Evan Neal would be a good guard. They need a guard. You move Evan Neal down into guard. You start Talisa Fuaga out on the right tackle spot, and there's your bookend tackles for the next however many years you want them. Andrew Thomas was really good this year. And I guess you could argue Malik Neighbors at pick 6, but he is what they already have. The average sized guys that are better in the slot. They've already got that. Go get this bully of an offensive lineman. He might have been the best player at the Senior Bowl. I'm a huge fan of Talisa Fuaga, and I like him going at pick 6. I really do. I had it before it was popular, and it's now popular. Give me Talisa at pick 6. Addison, Tennessee Titans, probably smiling at what I just did.
Yeah, see that this is tough because they obviously need receiver help. They need it bad. And you got the young quarterback in Will Levis, but man, I'm also thinking Joe Alt sitting right there, baby. That's one of the best tackles you could. Will Levis is blindside for the next 10 years, Kyrie. Because Peter Skoronski ain't no tackle. You throw those guys on the left side together, and that might work. But man, that's tough. And this is one where if this was me, I'd be sweating. It'd be coming down last second for this pick. I'd be deliberating with my whole squad because Neighbors, like you said, Nate, doesn't have the complete size like Odunze does, Marvin Harrison Jr. does, but that does not matter.
No, he was
very explosive. And the G-men, the Titans lacked explosive plays except D-Hop, deep bombs from D-Hop. And that is not something that can continue with an old age receiver. What screws over Bobby the most? What screws Bob over the most? I'm taking Joe Alt. Just give me the best, what I think is the best tackle in the class.
He is.
Get somebody to be the left tackle because obviously Taylor Lewan gone. It's just not been filled since. You tried last year with Skoronski, but this time you got a for sure guy, Joe Alt. No question about his arm length. And it's just the blindside protection of Will Levis, who you believe in. He showed enough last year for me to, I get the receiver, but you want to keep this guy healthy because he got banged up a little bit, and we don't want him taking extra hits. So give me Joe Alt here to Tennessee. They might be a little pissed because they're going to need weapons, but go spend a little money in free agency. Go spend a little money. I love
Joe Alt to the Titans. I love it. They need a left tackle. This guy's a monster. 6'8", 315 pounds. Came into college to play tight end. He was a tight end. Transitioned over to the left side. They need a left tackle desperately. And this is such a deep receiver class. With their first pick in the second round, they will still get a stud receiver if they want to. Yeah. You're not going to get a Joe Alt in the second round.
That's damn true. And I'll also say this. It doesn't matter really lineman 40 times, but you got a 6'8", 315 guy running a 4'9". Yeah. Come on. That guy's an athlete. He's an athlete. Yeah.
Insane.
Agreed. Colin, Atlanta Falcons on the clock. Pick 8. Who you got him going?
Atlanta Falcons. So we talked about Atlanta. Weapons everywhere. Weapons galore. They go get a quarterback, right? I don't think so. Just because the top 3 have already gone, I think maybe they address that in free agency, or heaven forbid they give Ritter one more chance.
Oh my
Oh.
God.
I don't think they do that. I think they go get somebody in free agency. But you bring in a first-time head coach, defensive mind head coach. I would almost put money they take an edge, and that's who I have them taking here. I have them going Jared Verse out of Florida State here at 8. I just like him a touch more than like a Dallas Turner, like he's more of a true edge versus like that versatile linebacker coming off the edge. So I'll take Verse here at 8 to Atlanta.
Yeah, I like that pick for them a lot. They desperately need a good edge rusher. I think Jared Verse is probably the most well-rounded of the top 3 edges. You know, you look at guys like Jared Verse, you look at Laiatu Latu and Dallas Turner. I think Dallas Turner is just a little bit too small right now. Get him in an NFL training program and have him bulk up. He's like 240 right now. That's not going to cut it. Laiatu Latu, I think, is the best pass rushing edge rusher in this class, but Jared Verse does it all. He's the most well-rounded. I think that's a great pick for Atlanta. He will be a monster for them. And like you said, defensive-minded head coach. Yeah, that's probably best player available for them at that position. Definitely.
First draft for him, new head coach, defensive. I'd almost guarantee they take an edge, whichever of the 3 it is.
Atlanta's history is defensive edge athletes. That's literally what they take. They're not afraid to take a guy that they think can explode on because he's a freak athlete and they can develop it. And that Atlanta's done that time after time.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. Yeah, it's a great pick. And man, oh man, if I am Ryan Poles, I just took off my pants. I just ripped them off, and I'm going crazy right now because possibly a top 4 player in the entire draft, true talent, just fell to me at pick 9. And I'm going with the man, Malik Neighbors, wide receiver out of LSU. And I'm going to pair him up with DJ Moore. And they're going to be catching bombs from Caleb Williams all day long, man. That is unbelievable for the Bears. I was hoping just to get one of the top 3 to fall to 9 if I'm lucky, and to have Malik Neighbors fall the way. He just had 1,500 yards and 14 touchdowns, man. That's crazy. And he was their number 1 on LSU with a guy like Brian Thomas on the other side, who's obviously super talented, and we'll hear his name called later in this round. But to get someone like that to be a 1B to DJ Moore's 1A, forget about it.
Come on.
Forget about it. I am tears of joy if I'm a Bears fan and the draft night comes around and it's Caleb Williams and Malik Neighbors.
Please, man.
God.
I'm begging. I am begging Boone for that to happen.
That would be insane. That would be insane.
Addison, on the board for the Jets. What do you think?
The Jets. I'm going to totally butcher name. But I think this is also clear slam dunk, home run pick for the New York Jets. There's one position they need. It's glaring, and it's to protect their 70-year-old quarterback, and Rodgers coming off that Achilles. Give me Oluwayi Fashanu.
Olu Fashanu. He just goes by Olu.
Okay, Olu Fashanu.
Yep.
Monster Penn State guy, though. 2 years as a starter left tackle. The size is there, 6'6", 320. And again, it's just when you're looking at the draft, some of them are clear cut. If the Jets don't take an offensive tackle here, if out of one of these 3, Nate, if it's not one of the 3 we have listed, the Jets failed as an organization to not help out Aaron Rodgers.
Yep.
I think it's clear cut. Fashanu from Penn State. He's a top 3 tackle in the class, and you're getting a guy to protect Rodgers for the next year, if not 2.
Yeah, he's the best pass blocker in the class. He's better than Joe Alt at pass blocking based on PFF's grades. He's not as great of a run blocker, but that's okay. I'm not drafting you to block for Breece Hall. I'm drafting you to block for Aaron freaking Rodgers. We need to be able to pass the ball. Olu at 10 is the steal for them. That's a fantastic pick. Plug and play, day 1 starter.
Day 1 immediate left tackle that you're not worried about. And again, it's Rodgers' blindside.
Yep. I just saw a video of him, 3 reps, 700 pounds on the deadlift. I mean, the guy's a monster. Guy's an absolute monster. He'll be a real problem. Yeah, that's a home run pick for them. They didn't address it last year. They address it this year. Great pick at 10. Colin, Minnesota Vikings on the clock at pick number 11. What are you thinking here?
Minnesota's looking at Denver and saying, hey, Denver, how much you want JJ? No, I think Minnesota goes ahead and they spend their money this offseason, I should say, re-signing their offensive pieces. I think they do bring back Kirk. I think they try to work with Jettis as much as they can to see what we can do extension-wise. Maybe they put it off one more year. I think they do let Danielle Hunter walk in free agency. I don't think they'll be able to pay him. If they don't, then Davenport is just as injury-riddled, or actually more injury-riddled and getting older. So I think they go defensive end here, and I'm going to get them back-to-back great names. Laiatu Latu, is that correct?
Latu.
I'm going to go him here at edge, the Minnesota Vikings at 11.
A great pick. You know why I love that pick? Because Laiatu has like those medical concerns, right? He had to medically retire for a period of time, but he obviously came back. You know who he reminds me so much of for obvious reasons is a guy Brian Flores drafted in the first round a couple of years ago in Jalen Phillips. very similar profile as a player, freak athlete, fantastic pass rusher. Maybe not great against the run yet. Give him some time. And Brian Flores just happens to be the DC in Minnesota. They're going to need edge. Marcus Davenport's a free agent. Danielle Hunter's a free agent. You're going to have to pay one or both of them. You're already in a tough cap spot. You're going to have to extend Jefferson. Get a premier edge rusher like Latu, and it's a fantastic pick for them. He can do it all.
Yeah, like you said, the money situation, they cannot be paying the defense. And also, Davenport went there to try to get a bigger bag in the next offseason. Don't know if it's going to work out for him, but he's definitely going to be wanting more than the $12 million he took from Minnesota for one season.
100%. And it's like you said, Colin, if you're Minnesota, you're probably calling up Denver like, hey, how much do you want JJ McCarthy? And Denver says, well, I'm not going to pay you. I'm just going to sit and hope you don't take him. And in this instance, they get lucky. And JJ McCarthy goes at pick number 12. Now, I wanted to make a point at the beginning of this to let everybody know that this is what we think they're going to do and what we would do in this situation. I think JJ McCarthy has a chance to be a good NFL quarterback. Get him with Sean Payton. Get him with some weapons out there like Jerry Jeudy, like Cortland Sutton. They've got talent out there. He's got all the size. He wasn't asked to do a ton. I've seen people say that put him in an offense and let him throw the ball like Joe Burrow. He could do what Joe Burrow did at LSU his last year. He didn't put up all the gaudy statistics, but that's not what the draft is for. You're drafting on projectability. This guy is a 6'3" quarterback. He's only 21 years old. He will develop, and Denver has to have somebody to develop. And I don't think they trade into the top 3 to get a QB. So JJ McCarthy, in my opinion, is the clear 4th best quarterback in this class. And then there's a steep drop off between him and then the Bo Nix, Michael Penix range. So I'm all about the JJ McCarthy pick here at 12. There's other options, absolutely, but they need a quarterback, and Sean Payton's going to want his choice. And JJ McCarthy will be his choice at 12, I think. So I'll go JJ McCarthy at pick 12, which brings up Addison, the Las Vegas Raiders.
The Raiders. Give me them Raiders. And now the Raiders are pissed because all the quarterbacks are gone.
Yep.
And they're looking like, do we reach on a guy like Bo Nix? And my answer is no. At least not this early. Don't be stupid. And the Raiders, Antonio Pierce came in and got the ship right, but I don't think it's a lot there's not a lot to look at that is good on that Raiders roster. I think there's going to be quite a bit of turnover if Pierce survives. I'm going to go Byron Murphy, D tackle from Texas. It's just a piece that the Raiders need. He's a decent pass rusher as well from the interior on the defensive line. So he's a run stuffer and he can get to the quarterback. And it's just when you're playing in the division with Patrick Mahomes, you're going to need guys to get home. And right now it's just I'm thinking this is maybe best available and best position just because Brock Bowers, you're not going tight end after just drafting one last year. And this is just a need for the team. So I'm going Byron Murphy from Texas, D tackle. And the Raiders are pissed again that all the quarterbacks have gone and that they didn't go up and make a move, because that's what it's going to be if they don't. And because all the quarterbacks will be gone and this Raiders team is just going to be in purgatory.
Yeah, agreed. I really do like Byron Murphy, though, as a prospect. He's flown up boards recently. He looked like a monster. A little bit, not even like undersized. He's like 6'1", 308. I think I just saw when I pulled it up here. But super talented guy on the inside. Played great next to T'Vondre Sweat this past season. He feels like a Raider defensive lineman. I really like that thing.
One thing about Murphy is he's big, his motor. He's a go. He's 100% every single snap. And you're going to get 110 on this last snap when we need it most. And most guys don't have that. And you're getting that from a D tackle as well. Those are the guys you think maybe take off a couple plays because they're the big boys, but not this guy. He just keeps going.
Yeah, agreed. I like that pick a lot. Colin, New Orleans Saints on the clock.
Saints, mere dumpster fire this past season, as I kind of anticipated they might be. One glaring thing I see this season coming up is offensive tackles. One side, you have a guy that's coming off maybe not coming off a big injury going forward. And then you have a guy on the other side who's underperformed since you've picked him. So I'm going to go offensive tackle here, and I'm going to take J.C. Latham out of Alabama here. Primarily, he's a right tackle, which is Ramczyk. If he's not able to come back from his injury, you just plug and play immediately at right tackle. Or if Ramczyk is able to come back, then maybe you can try and move Latham to left tackle and hope it works. So I'm going to take him here. I think he's the best tackle that's left on the board.
Agreed. I do think I've got him firmly in that 4th spot for tackle. Originally, he was 3rd, and then Fuaga just started flying up boards. I could see them falling in love with someone like Tyler Guyton, but it's like you said, and it's like I said earlier too, J.C. Latham, he's a right tackle. That's what they're going to need. You give Trevor Penning a little more time out there at left tackle, but Ramczyk, that's like a cartilage issue with his knee. He might have to retire,
right?
Especially like in the near future. They've got to fix that quick. There's no quarterback to take in this spot. And
Which
you don't
sucks because sorry to cut you off, which sucks because Ryan Ramchek's been one of the best tackles
Awesome.
since he's came into
Awesome.
the league. So it's terrible to see,
Yeah.
another injury claim another great player's career
I
potentially.
know. Yeah, I agree. It is tough to see that. It kind of popped up out of nowhere. He's been so good. But JC Latham's a really good right tackle. He's going to be solid. I think he's fallen. I think we're getting some prospect fatigue on him because all these other guys are out doing these things that we're seeing. We're like, oh, this guy's got to be above him be above him. Like people want Tyler Guyton from Oklahoma above him because he looks good at the Senior Bowl and he looks athletic. I think JC Latham is way too steady to fall below him. He will be very solid, I think, at right tackle for the Saints.
And just talking about physicality real quick, 6'6", 360. I mean,
Yeah, come on.
Mountain.
Good luck.
Beefcake.
Best luck. He's going to be 100 pounds heavier than any edge coming at him.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. If you can't speed past him, which he's pretty athletic for a big fella too. If you can't run past him, you're not going through him. He's way too big for that. Way too big.
Nope.
This makes my pick for the Colts tricky because it was all of the corners are on the board. We're due for a corner run here anytime. And I think the Colts would love a corner. But damn, there's Brock Bowers just sitting there staring me in the face.
Dallas Clark 2.0.
Just staring me in the face. Anthony Richardson, you're telling me he wouldn't love to throw the ball to Brock Bowers and he's available at pick 15 and you just sit there? Like it's too hard to pass that. I think they have to re-sign Michael Pittman Jr. in the offseason, which I hope that they do. But you look around the team, they could really use a corner. I think you wait. There's no tight end that you're going to be able to take in the second round that's anywhere near as talented as Brock Bowers. If he falls all the way to pick 15, that's my move. I'm going Brock Bowers at 15 to the Colts. Again, just too talented, just way too talented to not go here. And you're Anthony Richardson. You're welcome. You've got every piece you could want now, man. Let's go. Next year
you got
we go.
a guy that's realistically a top 5 pick, but he's a tight end, and there are other premier positions that get love.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, JJ McCarthy above Brock Bowers. I'm a big Michigan guy. Big Michigan. M on my head like a Michigan fan. And Brock Bowers is 10 times the prospect. It's just position.
Agreed.
Well, that and Nate, you talk about tight ends. I mean, last year you could interchange any of the top 3 or 4 tight ends in the class. This year it's clear there's a severe drop off for Brock Bowers to the next guy.
Obviously Bob, big Colts guy. He's our Colts guy in the pod. We're talking. Let's go look at the teams that to finish the season, last 4. Let's go look at their tight end positions. All pretty good. All pretty good. I think it might be a key piece when push comes to shove. Tight end difference maker. Yeah.
Agreed. Yeah. Yep. So Brock Bowers at 15 leads up to you. Addison, Seattle Seahawks on the clock at pick 16. What do you think?
Now, this is where it gets interesting because 16, if Brock Bowers got to the Seattle Seahawks, do you go there just because it's a value? Maybe they don't need it with Noah Fant, Will Dissly there, but no need to even consider that. But this is where it gets tough because Dallas Turner, do you go get an edge piece in Seattle? That is one of the positions of need for Seattle. The other alternative, though, is center. And Jackson Powers Johnson is sitting right there. And it is an interesting dynamic, though, because the quarterback situation after this upcoming season, it's a question mark. I don't want to say you don't draft offensive linemen for a question mark, but would you rather build the team with maybe the best edge threat in the draft, slipping to 16? Slipping to 16, guys. This guy should be top 5 player, but there's some questions about the motor. There's just size, how it translates. He could be the best of all the edges, though. So I'm going to ride with him. I'm going Dallas Turner here, even though Seattle needs the center. But I just think that's too far of a fall. And Dallas Turner's agent will take a deep breath, a deep sigh, and he'll be off the board. Seattle getting a guy that could be, again, the best edge when it's all said and done in this class. At least got very high potential, and I'll take him at 16.
Yeah, I think it's a good pick. Dallas Turner at 16 in Seattle with Mike McDonald coming off of a great season as DC in Baltimore. Give him someone like that to work with. That defense is going to be nasty.
Yeah, he'll have Dallas Turner in positive rush situations next season. He'll give him an advantage any way he needs to, and he will get him at the quarterback.
Agreed. Colin, Jacksonville Jaguars on the clock. Where
Jacksonville Jags. A few ways you can go here. Obviously, receiver room's going to turn over a little bit. But I'm looking at their defensive side of the ball. And do you start it on the backside, which, pass happy league, or do you start it up front? And I'm a firm believer you have to start the defense from up front. If you can't get pressure on the quarterback, what good is a good secondary? If they have all day to throw, I'm going to actually go with who I think is the best interior defensive lineman here to Jacksonville. I'm going to go, is it Jerzon Newton from Illinois, ILL?
Yeah, he's damn good.
I'm going to draft him here at the Jags. I think you can plug and play him almost immediately and just say, big body in the middle, don't let him run it down your throat. Because that's something that Jacksonville was really susceptible to last season. Couldn't stop the pass, couldn't stop the run, and guess what? You missed the playoffs because of it. Go get a guy you can plug and play almost immediately. I think that's what I would do if I was Jacksonville here.
Yeah,
I like
he's,
that, man.
He's
Yeah.
a stud up the middle. I'm a big fan of him up the middle. Man, Bengals, originally, my first thought with them is tackle. They need offensive linemen for sure, but every corner is still on the board, and I'm not passing on one here. I can't. I'm going with who I think is probably the best corner in the class, Terrion Arnold out of Alabama. Absolutely sticky in man coverage. Very, very good at the Pro Bowl, the Senior Bowl. No, not Senior Bowl. He just looked good all season. He's not even 21 years old. Redshirt sophomore, 6 foot, 196 pounds, can do it all. I do think he's probably the best man-to-man corner in the class, but you don't have to just stick with that. And I think that the value for the Bengals there at 18 is too much to pass up on. Yeah, you could take, a tackle down the board like an Amarius Mims or a Troy Fatanu or a Tyler Guyton, but none of them are the best tackle in the class. Terrion Arnold, I think, is probably the best. You have the pick of the litter of the corners. And I can't pass on that at 18 for the Bengals. So I'm going to go with Terrion Arnold at 18.
Love Terrion Arnold at 18. Thought he could go to the Colts. Field Yates had that in his mock, and I think that's a good pick too. But he's a playmaker on ball. 5 picks as well on the season. So, I mean, that's a great pick. And you got to look around the league. Teams that have the quarterback, team that think they have it figured out. Let's go look at who wins. Kansas City. What did they do? Address corner. If you can address corner and get young studs to go be on the opposite side of your franchise elite quarterback, good things will happen. You don't need to score 35 to win. Your defense can clutch up and hold a team to 14, and you can have 17 to win.
Yep.
And hopefully, like you said, Nate, because you're not wrong with how the draft, if it plays out like this, Cincinnati has to jump. Even if it's not a position, you have to jump on what you think is the best corner.
Too good. Just too good to pass on. Which brings up the Rams, who probably were thrilled with how the board's been falling, especially if they're looking at the backside of their defense. They do have quite a few needs listed per PFF. Yeah. Addison, I'm curious to hear where you're going with this one. What are your thoughts?
So definitely I'm going to be thinking defense just because on the offensive side of the ball, they have quarterback as a need, but that's just not now. That's going to be a need eventually. Stafford's still going to sling the rock. Their offense is going to put up points. We need to slow down the other team's offense as much as we can. And we're doing that with Mr. Speedster himself, Mr. Iowa boy. Let me go get Sean McVay drafting his white corner. Give me Cooper DeJean. Come on, baby. Yeah, man, I just got to say, shout out, Coop. White corner in the first round. Absolutely unbelievable. Unbelievable. Tremendous. Thank you, brother. But I just think that's a slam dunk. Even if it's not Cooper, it's a secondary piece. It will be a secondary position here if the draft plays out like this, just because you're taking the second best corner now. So number one went who you could think your one's available here. Right. And it's just, again, you have the offense. You're going to put up points. How can we slow down teams? Good corners is the answer. Let's go address it. Cooper DeJean for me.
Yeah, great pick. He's such a chess piece too. He's you guys ready for all of the white defensive back slogans you're going to hear? Great football IQ. He's a technician. He may not
He's scrappy. He's scrappy.
Scrappy. Yeah. He's a hard-nosed hitter.
He's gritty. He's got grit.
Great
he's
intangibles.
He's first into the locker room. Yeah, first into the weight
locker room presence. All the intangibles you could ever want.
Yep.
Wait for it. That's what we're going to all hear about Cooper DeJean. But genuinely, it's true. 6'1", 207. You could play him at safety. He could.
Yeah, he can play. He can be a chess piece. You said that. He's a chess piece on a defense. Mm-hmm. And it's done. I hate to bring up Kansas City, but they're the team that does it every year. They're the team that's won back-to-back. They have a chess piece. Justin Reed. Obviously, they're not going to go throw him on a number one corner. That's what their true number ones are for. But they'll put him in the slot. They'll put him against the best player on the opposing offense for a certain play if needed. Not saying Coop's going to do that immediately, but he's got the ability the physical traits to be able to do that, and that's huge.
Yeah, totally agree. Yep, I like that pick a lot for the Rams. Colin, Pittsburgh Steelers on the clock next. Where you got them going?
I'll say real quick before I go Pittsburgh, give a shout out to Bill Burr. He's got a really funny bit about Olympic sprinters. He's like, you always see that one token white guy in like lane 8, and you're like, come on, just one time can we win it? And that's like white corners. It's like, can we just have one white corner that's somewhat formidable? That's Cooper DeJean.
JJ, yeah, clamp Justin Jefferson in your first matchup, please.
Yeah, it's like, we just have one white corner that's just somewhat average. But here with Pittsburgh, that's who I'm drafting for at 20. I think you go ahead and just set your edges on offense. You got Broderick Jones at right tackle last season. Let's go get you a left tackle, and that offensive line is going to be set. I know everyone wants to go quarterback here with Pittsburgh. We want to move on. You want to go corner or wide receiver. I'm going to go left tackle. Oh, and that's tough. And I'm gonna butcher a name again. I'm gonna go. This is actually tough
Mhm.
because I want to go. I think Marius Mims is the best tackle left, but he's not a left tackle per se. I'm going to draft him anyway. We're going Marius Mims, tackle
like
for
that.
Pittsburgh. We're going to figure it out, get Georgia teammates back together.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we're going to figure it out.
Yeah, Mims is going to be all. Look at the size. I mean, 6'7", 340 pounds. Good luck
Come
getting
on,
around
man.
that dude. He's
Yeah.
21 years old. I think that's a great pick. Honestly, he's been moving up boards a lot. Him and Tyler Guyton have both been flying up. I think that's a great pick for the Steelers. And I love it's another Georgia offensive tackle. That's just fun. That's just
Yeah.
fun.
It's not the
Because of money.
same. He's obviously was drafted in later round. I'm blanking on name, but Ohio State guy that went to Cleveland, and he's
DeJuan
just
Jones.
DeJuan
he's
Jones,
just
yep.
6'8". He's 6'8", 360 pounds. How do you? And he plays left tackle.
He was
How do
awesome.
you get? You just don't get around him. You're just not quick enough to get around him because he's so big, and that's a huge factor.
Yeah. Yep. And Steelers, that hard-nosed brand of football that they play, I really like Amarius Mims. I think him at 20 is a great pick for
And
them.
Colin, you said it, quarterback. Obviously, they've been picked apart in this draft, but I think Pittsburgh's looking into the free agency / trade
Trade for
to
I
go
agree.
address
I
that
agree.
quarterback. Yeah, trade for Fields. That's what I think they should do. Yeah.
Recently on sports books, they've become the favorites to land him in a trade.
Yeah, and Tomlin, that'll be a guy that, not that Fields hasn't had people in his corner.
Mhm.
You know, the coaches have always said the right thing. Tomlin will believe in that guy, full send, do whatever it takes to show him succeed, and that's what you want as a coach. And Tomlin does that, so that'd be a great fit, I think.
Yeah, and it's funny that I can't believe they've already given up on Kenny Pickett, but I get it. He hasn't shown you anything yet.
Yeah.
Fields can show you something, man. Fields has that athleticism to be unbelievable.
Yeah, his potential at least is still there. Pickett,
Yes.
it's like, okay, we've seen what your ceiling is, bud,
Yeah.
and that's not good.
Agreed. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't start Mason Rudolph in the playoff game and then go back to Pickett next season. I don't
No.
think you can do that.
No, you can't.
No,
You just can't.
Totally could see them getting Fields. But this brings up your Miami Dolphins on the clock, and you had me sweating earlier. I think it was Addison at 16 was talking about maybe taking
Yep.
my boy, but I'm taking him at pick 21. Give me JPJ, Jackson Powers Johnson out of Oregon to be the Dolphins' new starting center. Even if they bring back Connor Williams, who was great last year, he tore his ACL in December. He will not be ready to start this season. There's almost no way. And he's a free agent. You just draft the replacement. And Jackson Powers Johnson looked unbelievable at the Senior Bowl. When I did my first mock draft a month and a half ago, he was a second round name. He wasn't even sniffing the first round. And then he goes to the Senior Bowl and absolutely dominates the one-on-ones against defensive linemen. Just anchored. They could not move him for nothing. He's awesome. Big fan. It's like people who passed on Creed Humphrey a few years ago, and it's like, this guy could be a really good center. Are we sure we want him to go in the second round? Well, he's a center. We don't really care as much. No, now he's probably best center in the NFL.
Yep.
And it's like you take a guy like that, a true bred center, quit converting guards to center, Miami. I don't want to see Liam Eichenberg there anymore. And I don't think I want to pay Connor Williams coming off an ACL tear. Go get Jackson Powers Johnson and then forget the center position for 10 to 15 years like we did with Mike Pouncey. That's a dream for me at pick 21 for Miami is JPJ. So that's who I've got Miami going.
No,
with.
I love that. The only obviously concern is just a couple of those teams, but it's obviously who's in front and who's gone. Some teams center needy, but it just turns into, are you drafting a center at 17 if you think there are premier positions with
Right.
premier players available? And it's just, I think that's why some teams pass. And the
Mhm.
Dolphins could easily snag best center in the draft by a mile.
Yeah.
And that'd be huge because also that is something that you get him in, you get him going with Tua. That's all timing. You need
Yep.
that to be perfect. And that's something that, like you said, that could be the guy for the next 10 years. Tua has the same center basically his whole career. Thank
Yep.
you. Thank
That's
you.
what I would like, please.
Yeah.
I can't have it. Can't have me. And he's already had a small injury history. He messed up his hamstring. It's like, oh, you're a Dolphin offensive lineman already, kid.
Yeah.
You already fit right in. Fantastic. Addison, this brings you up with your Philadelphia Eagles at pick number 22. Who you have them going with here?
Well, I think this is similar to some of my other picks, and that is it is clear who the position should be at least, and I think that's a secondary piece, a corner piece.
Absolutely.
And it's sick, but you know the secondary loses some guys, gets depleted. It's clearly not the same the second year around, and I got to take my guy. He's got the coolest name in the world, Kool-Aid McKinstry,
Love it.
Bama.
Yep.
I think he's gonna get picked here. I mean, don't get me wrong. Wiggins from Clemson, damn good.
Yep.
Mitchell from Toledo's even damn good. But I just
Yeah.
think Kool-Aid has a potential chance to be an impact player day one, and be an impact player for the next 6 years. Obviously, all these corners as well. This is just, picking who I like most. And at the end of the day, it's just Kool-Aid. I like what he did on the tape. He just flashes to me. And Philly, I think Howie Roseman's just going to make a name here. Go Kool-Aid McKinstry.
Yeah. McKinstry, but coming into the season was a consensus top 10 pick.
Yeah.
And it's not like he had a bad year. He
Yeah.
gave up 1 touchdown the entire season. That's it. He's never given up more than 1 touchdown in a single season.
Again, it just turns into, and I get they made the playoff, but Bama, they were doubted like all season. They had the early loss to Texas, and it's just, okay, so since they're not undefeated, their players all of a sudden suck. No,
Yeah.
Saban knows what the fuck he's doing. He recruits DBs.
Yep.
You just go look at it, his tenure. They're 15 plus secondary members from Bama to have at least been drafted top 2 rounds. It's absurd.
Yeah.
So they know what they're doing in Bama.
Agreed. Colin, Houston Texans hot off of a shocking playoff run. Who you got them going with here with Cleveland's first round pick 23?
Yeah, real quick, Kool-Aid just sounds like a Philadelphia Eagle, and he also gives a return aspect to his game as well. You can throw it back to return kicks.
Yeah.
He was excellent last year at Alabama doing that. But here at Houston, I know a lot of people are going to want the sexy wide receiver pick. Get Stroud, a first-round pick at wide receiver. I think there's a lot of talent in free agency as far as wide receivers go. You got Tank Dell coming back with whatever else you're going to keep in their receiver room. Probably not much else. Noah Brown maybe here and there. I'm going to go ahead and get a corner. And Addison, I'm glad you took Kool-Aid because I'm going to go Nate Wiggins out of Clemson here. I think you pair him with Derek Stingley Jr. And there you go. You got your 2 corners, D'Amico Ryans, defensive head coach. And you just let Stroud do his thing offensively.
Yeah, Wiggins is damn good, and that will be, I might get flamed in the comments for not taking Wiggins just because he's damn good. But I just think Kool-Aid got a little hate. Like you said, Nate, last year I'm not buying in for a small lackluster, but Wiggins, you said it, Colin. Why address receiver when you think you have pieces coming back and you got money to spend in the free agency? Mike Evans is
a lot
available.
of money.
Yeah, a lot of money, a lot of receivers available. Let's go address the defense because again, we can build with Stroud. Let's go build the defense immediately.
Yeah, and just looking at some of Nate Wiggins' numbers from this past season on PFF, I mean, he played 500 snaps, but he had 293 of those against the pass, and he was only targeted 41 times and allowed 18 catches and had 2 picks. That's an unbelievable season from him at Clemson.
Big corner too.
Yeah.
Big corner as well, so you can throw him up on a bigger receiver on the opposite side.
It just sounds like he's taking away half the field in college, and that's just like, okay.
Yep. This is perfect, fellas. We've got ourselves a little bit of a cornerback run because with the Dallas Cowboys at pick 24, initial thoughts were this guy wasn't going to be on the board because of how well he did at the Senior Bowl and the Shrine Bowl and whatever it was he played in because he was unbelievable. In one-on-ones, wide receivers have every single advantage. Not when they were going up against Quinion Mitchell. Not when they were facing him. He has flown up draft boards, and I haven't seen him fall this far since that time because he's flown up draft boards. But I told you this, Colin, several weeks ago. I said Quinion Mitchell's a Cowboys corner if I've ever seen one. He will get beat for touchdowns, but he will pick you off more often than not. I was just looking at some of his statistics this past season. He had only 1 interception, but no touchdowns. The year before, 3 touchdowns allowed, 5 picks. He's an awesome man corner. You got Stephon Gilmore, who's probably going to walk. He's getting older. You've got Trevon Diggs coming back off an injury. Deron Bland, the pick sixes were nice, but you just saw him getting beaten coverage all the time. You just did. He's a great complementary piece. Quinion Mitchell can be cornerback 2, day 1. And then that Cowboys defense is ready to go with Mike Zimmer. I really like Quinion Mitchell. The temptation is to take an offensive lineman with Tyron Smith, probably walking in free agency. I think you just can't pass on the value of Quinion Mitchell here. Big fan of Quinion Mitchell. Big fan. Addison, that brings up your Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, my Green Bay Packers.
Your Green Bay Packers on the clock.
Packers.
What do you got them doing?
My Green Bay Packers.
My Green Bay.
Ah.
My Jordan Love. My Jordan Love.
My Jordan Love.
Well, I just don't think one of the positions in need is going to be even worth taking in this round, and that's running back for the Green Bay Packers. So that's not even a contest. I think this is clear cut as well. David Bakhtiari recently released. It's time. Your ACLs have been torn 17 times. Give me Troy Fautanu from Washington. My man's only allowed 2 sacks in maybe one of the biggest pass-heavy offenses in college football. Again, Penix dropping back as many times as he did a game. The man played 1,000 snaps. 2 sacks, 18 hurries, only got the quarterback hit 3 times. And Green Bay, you love what you saw from Love in the playoffs. You love how he finished the year. You just want to go get that guy some protection. And he's just the best remaining tackle, in my opinion. And it just shows, he was put in positions where he had to drop back and protect the quarterback, and he did. And I think you take that with Green Bay and you run, and left tackle, David Bakhtiari, replacement right there.
Yep. Yep, I totally agree. And the Packers just saved so much money against the cap by releasing him. He was a $40 million cap hit this season.
He
Had
got
to
paid
go.
because he was Rodgers' boy.
Yep. Troy Fautanu, really good versatility. He's played, I want to say, at least 3, if not 4 of the 5 offensive line spots for Washington. Can play anywhere. A lot of people, he reminds them of like Peter Skronsky last year.
Yeah.
He can play tackle. He might be amazing at guard, though. So you play him where you need to play him. You make it work.
And that's Green Bay's thing as well. Linemen that can play multiple positions.
Yep.
That is Green Bay's thing, because injuries happen and they don't want to have to go to a less caliber player. They want to be able to move somebody over, and that's a big factor as well.
Agreed. I think that's a great pick for them. Colin puts you on the clock with Tampa Bay coming up. Man, they have a lot of needs according to this.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Pick 26, Colin. What are your thoughts? Where are they going?
Yeah, a lot Tampa can do here. You might look receiver with Mike Evans, probably walking in free agency. You can look defense. I'm going to go defense here. Shaq Barrett probably not coming back. I forget the other DN, the hyphenate, Jackson Sylvania. I forget his name.
Shorinka.
There we are. I'm terrible with names, as you could tell throughout this whole process. I'm going to get him an edge here. Braylon Trice out of Washington. Plug and play guy, first rounder in my mind. Probably that 4th or 5th D end off the board, in my opinion. I think he's a guy you can plug and play almost immediately. And as you know, a theme of this draft, build it from the front. And I think that's what Tampa needs to do here. Build it from the front.
Yeah, I think he's kind of being underrated a lot recently. And I don't know if it's just because he got kind of quiet towards the end of the year or what, but I really do like Braylon Trice as a prospect. I think he's got all the tools to succeed at the NFL level. 6'4", 275, can be very versatile on the defensive line. You could stunt him inside if you had to. I think he's someone that we're going to be like, how did Tampa Bay get this dude at 26? He's someone that will be surprised fell as far as he did just because he wasn't as flashy. I like that pick a lot, honestly. Arizona on the clock at pick 27, taking Marvin Harrison Jr. at pick number 4. So wide receiver no longer would be considered a need for them. Although Brian Thomas Jr. on the board still is very tempting. You just go for it as Arizona. You just get them both. I'm not going to do that. I am going to give them, they drafted their starting right tackle last year in Paris Johnson Jr., and with a first-round pick this year, I've got them going with offensive tackle Tyler Guyton out of Oklahoma. Again, he looks so good at the Shrine Bowl this year. Senior Bowl, 6'7", 327, freak athlete. Wasn't spectacular at Oklahoma this past season, but gave up 0 sacks, only 9 hurries, and 355 pass block attempts. You love to see that. And the fact that he's such a good athlete bodes well when you've got a quarterback like Kyler Murray who can extend plays. Yeah, you can have someone like DeJuan Jones, but how long can he hold up if your quarterback's back there trying to make something happen? Tyler Guyton will block as long as you ask him to. He'll block through the whistle. High motor tackle, big fan of Tyler Guyton, and him at 27 for Arizona feels like a slam dunk. So we'll go Tyler Guyton to Arizona at pick 27. Addison, Buffalo Bills on the clock here.
Buffalo Bills are licking their chops.
Yeah, they are.
Shout out Arizona for not taking Brian Thomas Jr., because we will.
Yep.
Buffalo Bills will definitely be selecting a receiver here. I think Stephon Diggs could be Gonzo. I'll be shocked if he's on the Bills next year there. I said it. I think that's probably a popular take, though. Don't get me wrong. But I do think he's Gonzo. And I think you go replace him with a 6'4" guy and Brian Thomas Jr., somebody that Josh Allen can look downfield and see a big target. Gabe Davis is just too inconsistent. Hopefully Brian Thomas can come in. Yeah, and he is a free agent as well. Why would you pay that guy for what he's done? Because he has great games, but then he disappears. And you can't have that when the Bills need to be elite. And Brian Thomas, that'll just be the revamping of the receiver room in Buffalo. And they'll be taking the LSU receiver. Again, just a big target for Josh Allen. I think that's an easy slam dunk pick. They're looking at receiver there, and we'll take one of the best available. Thank you.
And it makes me absolutely sick to my stomach because seriously, Brian Thomas Jr., when it's all said and done, could end up being the second best receiver in this class. He really could be. 17 touchdowns last year as wide receiver 2 for LSU. 17 touchdowns. He's 6'4". He is going to fly at the combine. He is going to run the low 4.4s, maybe even high 4.3s at 6'4". My God.
Yeah, he'll be flying up these boards. Yeah.
His combine is going to make him unavailable at pick 28 because he's going to be so damn good.
He'll be DK. He'll be the DK where it's like, holy shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
People are going to be like, is this guy top 10? Is this guy
top
10?
Yeah. And that's what combine does, though. It's a joke, but I respect it at the same time because athlete is big, but It is insane how much that impacts shit.
It really does. It impacts it big time. So Brian Thomas at pick 28. That's a fantastic pick for Buffalo. Detroit, pick 29. Colin, thoughts?
Detroit, great draft last season. Two guys in the first round that we were kind of surprised when they took them. At least it's like, interesting. You trade back out of the Bijan sweepstakes and still get Gibbs, and then you're taking Jack Campbell in the first round. We were all shocked, and they actually produced very well this season for them. There's one position of need, in my opinion, in Detroit, and that's the back half of their defense. Their secondary needs some help, so they're kind of pissed at that cornerback run that went in the 20s here. I've gone back and forth between who I'm going to take here for Detroit. But I'm going to go Kamari Lassiter out of Georgia.
Great
I know
pick.
he's a fringe, late first, early second.
Great pick.
I just like him a touch more than the rest available currently. So I'm going to take Lassiter, another Georgia defender. What could go wrong?
Yeah, a lot. I don't know why. I mean, I guess I get it, but Ennis Rakestraw Jr., cornerback out of Missouri, has been getting a ton of love. I am just not the biggest fan of his game. I'm really not. He
A little
didn't-
small as well, size-wise.
Yeah, did not jump out to me at all. I do like Kamari Lassiter, though. I think he's real solid. And you can't, like you said, you can't go wrong when you're taking somebody from Georgia's defense. You simply can't go wrong with that. Like, that's just the good pick. 6 foot, 180 pounds, good size for the cornerback position. Only allowed 15 catches all season, 0 touchdowns. Like, come on, forget it. And he's playing in the SEC. People are good in the SEC. That's a great pick. They need corner. He brings some physicality with him being out of there. And yeah, I like that pick a lot for them. But you're right. They're definitely pissed about that cornerback run in the early 20s.
Just one of those guys slip.
Yep. That puts the Baltimore Ravens on the clock at pick 30. My initial thoughts have always been defensive line here. Someone like, I don't even want to like a Tavondre Sweat because he's just so damn big. I just don't think he'll play a ton.
He's
I really
Michael
like-
Pierce 2.0.
Yeah, he is.
He's just another
Yeah, just a monster of a man. in the
6'4",
middle.
340
Can't-
pounder.
Can't move him. You can't move him. I like Darius Robinson out of Mizzou. I like Chop Robinson out of Penn State. I think he probably sneaks his way into the first round somewhere. But man, if I'm Baltimore and I look around, I've got small Zay Flowers, who's really very, very good. But where's my size? Where's the size at receiver for them? Well, there's a guy named Troy Franklin coming in out of Oregon, 6'3", 190 pounds, only 21 years old, another burner, just like Brian Thomas Jr. He's going to absolutely fly at the combine, and he's going to soar up boards. I think after the combine, he'll be a slam dunk first round pick. I like Troy Franklin for them. Get some size at the wide receiver position, and we go next year with the MVP and see what we can do with another very good weapon for them. Their defense was excellent. Their defense is going to continue to be excellent. They have too much talent. So now it's almost like a luxury pick. Do you want a corner? Do you like Ennis Rakestraw? Do you like somebody like Kalen King out of Penn State, who's been just falling down boards? But I could see him maybe being a late first rounder. But I really like Troy Franklin, and that's where I'm going to go at pick 30. Give me Troy Franklin. Addison, last pick for you, San Francisco. Where you got him going?
San Francisco. I think I do agree with both of the positions of need, and that is just an offensive line and or DB. And I'm going DB here just because the San Francisco secondary was lackluster. You've got the front 7, and we need that back 4 to be locked and loaded. And Ennis Rakestraw Jr. is interesting because he did miss some time, but you go look at the numbers and he's not targeted often.
No.
I get he had less games, so obviously numbers might be a little skewed. But he was only targeted 28 times in 9 games on 277 coverage snaps. He only allowed 18 receptions, 200 yards for a tud. And end of the day, he's going up against stud athletes in the SEC. I got to shout out my guy, though, Michigan man, Mike Sandstrill. I just think he's a little too small for the first round, but that guy's going to be a stud slot for somebody. Just watch out. That guy makes plays on the ball. We'll give you Ennis Rakestraw Jr., last first round corner, at least on my book. I just think San Fran needs the secondary addressed, and you'll take the best of the remaining people when you get a pick at 31.
Agreed. And honestly, you look at Rakestraw's performances this year, just real quick on PFF's website, his best game was against the best offense they played was LSU. He had an 86.4 coverage grade against LSU. That's fantastic because he's not going up against bad receivers in LSU.
Oh, yeah, he's going up against 2 first-round picks.
Yeah, exactly. I don't hate that pick for Ennis Rakestraw, especially at pick 31 to someone like San Francisco. I think that is a
come
perfect
in, and it's not a scenario where you're going to have to come in and be the elite rookie corner. No,
Right.
man, you'll probably play the third least amount of snaps. You're going to have 2 guys ahead of you, but you'll be out there making plays, and if you play well, you'll just be on the field more.
Agreed. Colin, bring us home with the Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs. Where are they going here?
Well, I think they go quarterback. No, I'm kidding. Chiefs need a lot of help everywhere. No, this is just a pick of luxury. Every first round pick a Mahomes team will ever get is just a pick of luxury. And I think they address a spot where they had success in drafting last season, and I think they bolster it this season. Obviously, I'm going to take a wide receiver here just because why not? Pair somebody else up with an aging Travis Kelce, with a Rashee Rice if he can perform a second year straight. And I'm going to go Donnie Mitchell out of Texas. I'm talking about a guy who was a national champion in Georgia. I'm going to transfer to Texas and succeed there as well. 6'4", slightly under 200 pounds, but I don't care. He's a burner. He's a big burner. Go ahead and go to Kansas City. And here you go, Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, that's a great pick. I think Adonai Mitchell has a chance to be really, really good. And I think if you're Kansas City, you're probably hoping someone like Brian Thomas or Troy Franklin's still there. And
Can you
if they're
imagine
not,
Brian Thomas? Oh, my God.
Listen, earlier in the mock draft season when they were like mid-20s, it was Brian Thomas Jr. every single time, and that's terrifying. I remember saying, like, if he's available when the Chiefs pick, don't waste our time with 10 minutes. Let's just do it and be done.
It's a sprint to the draft. Yeah, it's a sprint. Get that card up there ASAP.
Yep, but I think it has to be wide receiver for the Chiefs too, because like you said, I mean, they've got Rashee Rice, great pick. But after that, at wide receiver, what do you got? I mean, Sky Moore was a healthy scratch essentially in the Super Bowl. He just didn't see any snaps at all. He was there, he was dressed, just didn't see any snaps. And then Kadarius Toney can't make his way onto the field because he's a freaking head case. And it's like, what are you doing at the position? I don't know. So I think AD Mitchell's a really good pick for them. Texas had some stud receivers this year. Texas was really damn good.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah.
It just pisses me off about the Chiefs even more because then like you're thinking about, okay, they got some young corners. Okay, so in like 6 years when Mahomes is really up there in age, they're going to have these young receivers really hitting their stride. And it's like, Jesus, man, they're going to have everything they need, aren't they?
Yeah, it's frustrating, man. The Chiefs are going to be so damn good for so damn long. Mahomes is only 1 year older than Joe Burrow.
That's bad.
That's insane.
Did not know that. 28 and 27.
Ugh.
Unless the internet totally trolled me, which I don't know if they did or not. I'm looking
that's got
up
to be real, man.
literally right now. No, he's 27 and Patrick Mahomes is 28. Holy crap. That's insane. That's insane. I did not know that. Wow.
Dicks.
But that is our first round mock draft, kind of dueling mock drafts, just going at it. Everybody making picks what they like, what they don't like. And I like it. Honestly, I don't see anybody on here that you can't argue for in the first round.
Yeah.
This draft is going to be full of talent. This is a talented draft class. There are some guys still available where you're like, holy shit. Like Chop Robinson still on the board. Lad McConkey might sneak his way into the first round. Like Graham Barton is a do-it-all offensive lineman.
Damn good offensive lineman. Yeah.
Like there's some talent left. And I really like the Arizona offensive tackle, Jordan Morgan, I think his name is. Really, really good. There's some talent. This is going to be a good draft class where you're getting first round caliber guys in the second round. And I can't wait. But that's the mock draft. Make sure you guys, first of all, appreciate everybody for subscribing. Make sure you like the video, hit that big red subscribe button. If you haven't already, comment down below. What was your favorite pick? What was your least favorite pick? Let us know. We'd love to hear it. We'd love to talk draft in the comments. Absolutely love to do it. Let us know what you think. And make sure you tune in for the Playbook Sports Draft Spectacular. We will be live for the entire NFL draft, breaking down every single pick right here on YouTube. Absolutely can't wait for that. That is going to be a raucous day.
Yeah.
That's all I've got for you guys in this one. We will see you all in the next one.
Peace.